Hello everyone, this is my daily vlog, episode 33, and I'd like to talk about the people who get lost along the way. Um, when we view society and humanity in general through the terms of sociology, we get caught up in just applying numbers to humanity and what amount of people are poor, what amount of people are in the middle class, what amount of people are rich, how many people don't have basic health care in most countries, how many people die for every illness. There's numbers that are just kind of labeled across certain groups of people in the world, and it's easy to forget that these are actual human beings. I've always been more towards the side of psychology than sociology. I mean, they're not opposed to one another. It's just I tend to look at things through a psychological point of view than a sociological point of view because I do care about every individual. It's not about the numbers for me. It's about helping that one more person and how can I help somebody else. It's the reason I write, and it's the reason why I make spiritual videos and learn about these things, so that maybe I can help somebody out there in the ways that I know how, because there's a lot of ways that we can help people, but the ways that I'm skilled at are very specific. And it's a big world. It's hard to recognize everybody as a human being like we should, because there's so many different people, and our ability to do so or help people is limited based on trying to help ourselves and our family, gaining money in order to provide for ourselves and our family, making sure we have a future. And it's kind of hard to bring other people into that, and kind of hard to even remember to recognize them, to think about them. People in third world countries that are going through terrible things like drug wars or terrible and rampant diseases, and just the natural terror of poverty in general, the lack of food, the lack of clean water, the lack of health care, the lack of protection, and definitely the lack of education. It's hard to see every single person through that, and to recognize that most of humanity needs help. We just have to. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of us who have specific skills and may not be able to help people in the ways that maybe a doctor would, or an aid worker would, or even a psychologist would. We might only be able to do the small things. Helping somebody out to their car, giving somebody a little bit of money, writing an article, or making a video about how we should recognize people more often. But it's always, and it always feels like a drop of gold in like a sea of just black tar that is pain and suffering. It just feels like we're only making a little bit of progress for every little thing that we do, but ultimately, all those little things add up. Not only do those little things add up, helping one person, it doesn't mean that we have to help everybody. It just means that we should help the people that we can. And those people that we help will be better for it, and they'll be happier for it. It's a terrible price to pay when we convert other countries to numbers, or how many people died to numbers. It's the price of connection to other human beings. It's the price of compassion. And we do live in a society of numbers, and it's easier to understand the world when we have formulas for it, when we have understandings of the number of people dying or dead or being raped, being brutalized. It's easier to understand the world so that we can kind of comprehend how many people are still suffering, but it's much harder to do something about it. And it's not always a lack of willingness. It's just a lot of times it's a lack of ability. It's a lack of being able to put that as part of your life, charity, in some way, in any way. I just wish that even if you can't do anything, that at least in your ideology, in my ideology, and everybody's ideology, we would look favorably on the people that are suffering, instead of saying that, oh, they're just doing it to themselves, or they should have tried harder, or they should have started a business, whatever you want to say. We have to instead recognize that these people deserve to be helped. And it's a burden on our heart when we say that, because a lot of time we can't help them, and it does hurt if you're a compassionate person. It hurts a lot of the time when you're a compassionate person, but that's the kind of person that we need to be in order to make the world a better place. And once again, it kind of comes down to numbers with compassionate people. The more compassionate people there are, the more the world will change. The more the world will collaborate and grow together instead of certain people being extremely wealthy and the vast majority being extremely poor. And it's hard to enforce these things in a democratic society, in a republic. It's hard to force these things in a really any government that values any level of freedom, because if you try to force it onto people, then you're kind of being a dictator and you're inhibiting their ability to live happily. But if you don't, like in democratic societies a lot of the time, then it's up to people to vote for helping other people, and unfortunately we just don't see enough of that. We don't see enough of basic human kindness and compassion because it's out of sight, out of mind. And when these things are out of sight and we don't see them in the privileged position of being in a first world country, then it's easier to forget about them. It's easier to forget about everyone who is suffering. It's as a race, as a humanity, we have a long way to go, and we've come a long way, but we still have so many wrongs to right and people to help and equality to encourage, and people to work towards that. I do believe that we are improving, though. It wasn't that long ago that we had segregation in the United States. It wasn't that long ago that we had Jim Crow laws, and only a couple hundred years ago, less, we had slavery in the United States. In one of the biggest powerhouses of humanity, we had slavery not that long ago. And 100 years, 150, 200 years isn't that long. We only think of it as that long because that we're trapped in our own little bubble. But we are improving. We're getting past those ignorances in the first world countries, and there is humanitarian aid provided to third world countries, but it still isn't enough. And hopefully we can all work together to find a solution. Thank you for watching. If you like this, hit that thumbs up down there. I really appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe, and hell, give me some recommendations. I'll talk about what you want to see. But thank you very much for watching. Y'all have a great day.